As far as your WCW run, I recently bought a Bill Watts shoot interview and I've been watching it. And I know you worked in WCW under Bill Watts. What was your perspective of that regime?
Well, first off, when I think back then, I'm 22 years old, and yeah, just turning 22. I was a baby, so when I think about what it was like looking through those eyes, you gotta remember I just got out of high school a little bit ago. I wasn't traveling the world and stuff, so I remember just being amazed at seeing like Brian Pillman walk around in the dressing room and be like, "Yeah, man, that's Flying Brian. I'm watching my TV." And when I was wanting to do this, and I was not showing my mark side, but for me, I was still looking at all them as if they were veterans that have always wrestled, and me as someone who just got slapped by the doctor, came out of my mom. It feels like that. Like I was so young. I was even immature for 22. So like it wasn't like I'd done anything or been anywhere. Bill Watts liked me. He hired me as a favor to Ron Slinker is what it was. And shortly before that, he hired Ron's stepson, which was Dennis Knight, Tex Schlesinger. And everyone in Tampa down there was happy for Dennis to see him on WWE. And then Ron was like, "I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to get you in too, kid." And I was like, "All right, whatever." And boom, he did it. So I had that underdog special challenge match, which against Pat Rose. Thank you, Pat, for that way back then in December of '92. But I was pretty much in, even though that was looked at like a tryout, but I already had it in. I think Watts, I don't know if he liked me for me or just because I was Slinker's kid, while I was there, which was a brief, like a 5-month period. I remember that Bill Watts had banned going off the top rope because everyone was using it too much and no one knew how to wrestle anymore, in his opinion. But he still let me do the split-legged moonsault because I was just bouncing off it. So that was okay. You couldn't climb it. And so that was something. I got hired in December, and I already had a booking in Japan for Giant Baba to go in February, prior to getting hired by WCW. So Bill said, "Go ahead." And then after that, you can't work for them anymore, because WCW had this working relationship with New Japan. And so I went there and I got over in Japan and knew that I had a job there if I wanted it. And then when I came back from from All Japan to WCW, it seems like immediately, it seems like that's right when it happened. Like all of a sudden, Bill Watts isn't there anymore. Ole Anderson had taken over. And so my position was lost there. I was either having dark matches or I'd show up at Peachtree, was it Peachtree Stage Wrestling?
Center stage, I think.
Yeah. Besides show up and either not have a match or I'd have a dark match. Sometimes they'd have me giving someone a tryout and they wouldn't show it. Or if I ever was on TV, they were putting me under. And even at that young age, I wasn't liking what they were doing with me or the direction. It was obvious Ole Anderson didn't have the interest in me that Bill Watts did.